This is my 1995 Toyota Tacoma. It's got 235,000 miles on it now. Today it's got a small issue I'm going to take a look at and see what's going on. There's something wrong with the window washer reservoir. First of all, the filler neck here on top of the reservoir bottle is all crazed and full of little cracks and holes all along in here. So it's allowing air to get in and I guess for the fluid to evaporate. So in addition to the cracks and holes in the plastic portion of the filler neck, I may have a leak, or I may have some cracks in the hoses, or the pump might be bad. Let me activate the pump for you so you can hear it. That's all I hear. It may just simply be that the bottle is completely out of washer fluid, but I know it wasn't that empty and it may be leaking, it may have a crack. I may end up just replacing the whole washer reservoir. So the first thing to do will be to take the wheel off and get this corner off the ground. There's a plastic cover that covers the reservoir to be able to get it out, so I'll do that first. Alright, with the wheel out of the way, I can get at the plastic cover now. See, the plastic cover has three connection points. One here, a bolt here, and a bolt up here. Looks like there was one more right there that's been sheared off previously, so I don't have to worry about that one. There's also an electrical connector up under here. You can see it, a little clip protruding through the hole. The first thing I'll do is going to release that clip that's holding the electrical connector. Now I'll remove the bolts that are holding the cover in place. Look like they're 10 millimeter. Well, there goes one. It's no wonder that other one broke previously. They are really rusted in place. Gonna have to drill that one out. Next thing to do is unclip this electrical connector right here. It's a very stubborn connector. There we go. Okay, it might be a little hard to see, but behind this electrical connector is our little rubber hose that runs from the pump up to the windshield. And here's the rubber part at the bottom, and this little hard white plastic fitting that it slides over. I'm going to try and disconnect it right there. Alright, back up top now before we can drop it down. If you look down here on the filler neck, there's two fingers right here, kind of stick out over the frame. There's one on the other side. See it down in there. What you have to do is you have to put your hand down in here and you have to squeeze both of them to drop it down through the hole. If I just reach my hand down in here from this side, if I can squeeze the back one and the front one, tricky. Push it with your finger so it goes down through the hole in the frame. Same thing with the back one. So now we can see both fingers. There's the right side finger, and the left side finger, it's gone down out of sight through the frame. We should be able to drop the bottle straight down through the bottom now. Alright, so I filled it up with water. You can probably see the water line right there. Shake it a little bit. And it's not leaking anywhere. It's not leaking around the rubber grommet at the bottom of the pump. At least right now it's not leaking around the little hose that comes out of the pump. I plugged the end of the hose so it wouldn't run out while I was doing this test. So it looks like the extent of my damage is just right along this side of the filler neck. And I'm going to look to repair that rather than replace the whole reservoir. So I've come inside now and brought the reservoir into my bench, and you can take a better look now at the filler neck. You can see the hairline cracks that have formed in there, and there's an element inside there, looks like a foam element or something, a little strip that runs along the length of the neck. But it's been discolored and turned orange, I suppose, because I like to use this orange washer fluid. Kind of preferred that over the typical blue stuff. You see it's kind of cracked and folded in on itself a little bit. I think I'm going to repair that now. So I went and got this kit. It's a plastic tank repair kit, and it includes some epoxy and some fiberglass. So let me get into that and take a look what's in the kit. So here are the contents of the kit. It comes with instructions, of course, both in English and Spanish. It comes with the resin and the hardener in 2 attached pouches. A little alcohol prep pad to clean the surface, some sandpaper to rough up the surface, a brush, and of course some fiberglass cloth. Just a small little patch, not very big. I got a disposable plate here. I'm going to mix up the resin in, and the instructions say to roughen up the surface with the sandpaper and then clean it with some alcohol. Alright, let's start by roughening up the surface a bit with the sandpaper. Don't want to push too hard and make it crack worse. So that'll give the surface a bit of a key so that the epoxy will be able to grab hold of the plastic. So next we'll clean up the surface with the alcohol pad. Make sure there's no grease behind. So get rid of a little bit of that residual sanding residue too. Let that air dry. Next they want you to take the fiberglass cloth and cut it to the size of your repair. Well, in my case, it looks like it's just about exactly like what I want. So I'm just going to lay it up there, let it flow up onto the top of the neck here a little bit, and wrap around the sides. So I think I won't even trim it at all. Now we want to squeeze one side of the pouch until the seam is burst and the 2 sides, the resin and the hardener, mix. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. Now we can see how they're mixing together. I'll just work it back and forth until it's a uniform color. It also says don't mix it for more than 2 minutes. It starts to harden in 8 minutes and should be hard after 8 to 10 minutes, and then fully cured after 30 minutes. Now that it's fully mixed, I'm going to snip the top off at this point and start applying it to the surface. I'm trying not to put it down in the hole, but I'm going to put it just across the surface of the hole and smooth it out with the brush. Squeeze it all out onto this plate, and then I'll be able to work it off of there a little easier than out of the pouch. Alright, with the first resin on now, I'm going to embed the fiberglass into the resin. Work it down with the brush. So once we have the fiberglass positioned where we want it, just apply apply some more resin over top. It isn't really quite setting up yet, so I've still got a little bit of time. The resin just a little bit beyond the fiberglass and flare it out like that. So it's been maybe 6 or 7 minutes and it's starting to set up. You can see it's getting just a little bit thicker than maple syrup. We got a nice looking repair. That completely covers up all of the hairline cracks and the hole that I had there in the middle. So I'm going to let this sit for half an hour and come back and see how tacky it is at that point. Alright, it's been about an hour. If you'll see here by the plate, it's pretty hard. It's a little bit tacky on the surface, but structurally it's quite hard. And this is cured nicely. Again, a little tacky on the surface, but structurally it's solid. So I think I'm going to take it back to the truck. Back outside now. The epoxy looks nice and cured. Before I did that, I separated these staples from plastic backing. So I'm going to see if I can get those back through those holes and then bend the staples back over. Well, that one staple worked. I was able to work it back through the holes it came out of and bend the things back down. But the other one was just too rusty and it broke, so I decided to drill a hole through the flange, and then I'm going to just put a zip tie on here. I think that'll work. Might even work better. Alright, let's go ahead and see if we can get the reservoir back into position. Up through the hole in the top. There. Fingers have engaged and it'll hang right on those fingers. Since I got two bolts that have broken off, one was already broken off when I got in here and the other one I broke off, I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole just beside that one. Since there's a nut welded to the back of the frame, so I'm just going to drill a hole to the right of that and just put a nut on the back of that. Just right through the plastic flange. Now I can reconnect the water line. Take my screw out of the end of the hose. And I'll plug in the electrical connector. And it snaps back in that little hole. There we are. Alright, let's take a look and see what it looks like up here on the top now. See the repair on the top of the filler neck. Right there, looks pretty good, nice and sealed, nice and solid. The fingers that hold it in place in the frame, right down there, are snapped into place, as is the other one. Right, there's the other finger right there. Now I think what I'll do is I'll put some washer fluid in here. Don't forget the strainer. I'm going to put some in here. I'm not going to put a whole lot. I'm really interested in seeing if it's going to leak. Alright, I'm looking for any leakage right around here, or up out of here, around the pump. I don't see anything or feel anything. Let me give the pump a blast and see if we get any leaks after that. Got good strong fluid flow up at the windshield. I think I'll just leave it for a few days and take a look at it and make sure it's good, and if it is, I'll call it done. Alright, I've got the wheel back on and back on the ground, so I think I'm going to declare victory on this. I don't see any leaks. I'm going to watch it, of course, and I'll top it off later. But if you have the same problem and you resolved it the same way or differently, let me know. I'd like to hear your story. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.